Finally, a baseball episode. We're talking about the Oakland Athletics. On June 13th, 27,000 plus A's fans came out to the Coliseum with one message to their owner, the owner of the Oakland Athletics, John Fisher: sell our team. He has done as little as possible to support the team on the field. He has done less for the fan base. He has not given them any reasons to come out to the ballpark. And this is a completely neglected fan base. And it's sad if you're looking at this from a historical perspective. The A's were a great ball club. Through the 70s, the 80s, to the early 90s there. And then again in the early 2000s when I grew up. And I'm primarily making this video today saying I don't want to see the A's leave. And this is from a Giants fan. We were better for having two baseball teams here. It is something special. It is something that I enjoyed. I benefit from growing up having those two distinct styles of baseball, National League and American League. And those interleague games were special. Those early years, Giants and A's, we had MVPs on both sides of the bay. Bonds, Kent, Giambi, Tejada, Cy Young pitchers with the A's. They had great teams. They didn't get to the World Series, but we want to talk about making a lot of noise. We want to talk about leaving a mark. They did that. And at that time, even though the Coliseum was dump, they gave fans a reason to come out. And this owner just doesn't care. John Fisher is the worst owner in baseball. He's the worst owner in the three professional sports that we talk about on this channel. And it's important for as many of us to say so, to bring it to Major League Baseball's attention, to bring it to John Fisher's attention. Sell the team. This team should not be moving. This team should not be going to Las Vegas. And you know, Rob Manfred doesn't help, and the rest of the owners don't help because they want the team in Las Vegas. They want a team. And the A's right now are as good of a candidate as any, from their viewpoint, to go to Las Vegas. And, you know, I applaud the A's fans. You know, that should be a completely empty ballpark. Do I think the reverse boycott yesterday was going to change John Fisher's mind? No. But you had to do something. You had to do something. It was time for A's fans to express their disappointment, their frustration, to let it out together. And they love this team. They care about this team. And as a Giants fan, I want them to stay. I repeat that. I want the A's to stay, and the Bay Area is big enough for two baseball teams. And I go back and remember those crowds, great crowds filling up that Oakland Coliseum, and what a fantastic atmosphere, far better than what the best that Pac Bell Park, SBC, AT&T, Oracle, whatever you want to call it, has ever been able to offer. When it comes to crowd noise and atmosphere. And you have to be a hardcore A's fan to support your team because all you have is what's on the field. There aren't other attractions there at the Coliseum. There's no view anymore because of Mount Davis. So many balls are not going in the stands because of all the foul territory and then all the outfield space that fans have no access to. And can I say, just from an aesthetic standpoint, the A's are a beautiful team. That is one of the best uniforms in not just baseball, but all of sports. It really is. The green and yellow, I don't call it gold, it's yellow. It's done so well. It's just like the Green Bay Packers. Done so well. And how great would it be to see a competitive team back in Oakland again? I just don't see it happening. And I hope something does happen. I hope something changes with this situation, that it's not hopeless, because it is a great fan base that should be supported, has character, it's blue collar. I mean, I love seeing the flags wave in the outfield. Who else does that? And I've said this before, but when the A's and Yankees played each other in those playoffs in 2000, 2001, we talk so much about how great Yankee Stadium is and the crowd of New York. There's no one that loves their teams more than the city that never sleeps. You know what Coliseum or stadium was louder? Yankee Stadium or the Oakland Coliseum? The Oakland Coliseum. And yeah, you could say, well, how about that capacity? Sure. But to me, that's about as great of a collection of fans. When you could fill that up with blue-collar fans who are all in it for their team, who can match that in baseball? No fan base. And that's something you've lost, even with the Warriors. You know, going to San Francisco, it is different. It's not the same. Versus when they were in Oracle, oh, those crowds in Oakland were better than what they have in San Francisco. I didn't want to see the Warriors go to San Francisco either. I want to see the Warriors stay there. It's a shame. The A's should have a new stadium in Oakland. I hate to say it, I don't think we're ever going to see it. But A's fans, no reason to hang your heads. You've put up with so much, and you do deserve better. It's not your fault. It's this idiot owner, John Fisher. They've been playing their best baseball all season. That's one thing you can say about what's happened on the field. At least they were able to see a win that night. Let's talk about the Giants for a couple minutes. As a Giant fan, this has been an exciting time because of the young players. We're finally seeing young players get up. It's taken a long time, and we've really been running out of patience. And the guys who have come up, such as Joey Bart, weren't cutting it. But now we have a younger, more athletic team and a team that's competing. That's all I'd want. And I don't want to see them trade off young players. I want to see them build this team the right way. And it started with, well, you could say it started with Casey Schmidt, but I say go back to 2021, even though that wasn't Logan Webb's first year, but that's when he took off. And Camilo Duvall. That's where it really started, but no position players since that season. Last year, I felt like it was just a lost year. This year, when we did our brief MLB preview and talking about the Giants, and I was so disappointed that Casey Schmidt wasn't on the roster or in the lineup, and I said, well, what do I have to cheer for? This is just a bunch of guys in their 30s that don't have a future on the team, and they're taking up roster spots for younger players. Well, Schmidt gets brought up, and right away he had an impact, and he's struggling more now because the league has a book on him, and now it's time for him to adjust. Well, we'll see how he does. I think he got something with him. Patrick Bailey was Farhan's guy. He was his first pick, and we were scratching our heads when the Giants selected Joey Bart, the previous administration. And then Farhan turns around and picks Patrick Bailey, who was not the touted prospect and college player Joey Bart was. Joey Bart was supposed to be a star player. Guy can't even stay in the majors. Couldn't even hit a home run this season. And Bailey, who is known to have some pop, but not a great hitter. He's continued to hit over 300 while he's been up. But the more important part of his game is being a catcher. A great receiver. He can call a game. He can throw runners out. He knows how to manage pitchers. And the pitchers love him. And then the exciting news of the day was Luis Matos making his major league debut. And he had a huge 2021, disappointing year last year. Got hitting his first at bat against the Cardinals. The Giants sweep the Cardinals. And he's an athletic player too, playing in center field. Like, when did the Giants have like a truly athletic prospect? Because they didn't go back to the teams that won a World Series. We haven't had this much young talent come up at once. Position players, non-pitchers, since I've been following the Giants. That's how bad the minor league systems have been over many years now. We had the pitchers. It was Kane, then it was Lincecum and Bumgarner. Posey came up, of course, to be the everyday catcher in 2010. And then 11, it was Crawford and Belt. But just within such a short time period of having these three, Schmidt, Bailey, and Matos, I'm more interested in the games, that's for sure. Because you feel like, well, okay, we're actually building towards something now. We're building and we're competing while these young players are getting their experience and hopefully getting better. And there are other guys in the minors. I mean, Kyle Harrison is knocking on the door, and we'll see what happens with some of the other prospects. But finally, a better time for the Giants. Wish there was more we could say about the A's. At least they're winning some baseball games. The Giants are, after sweeping the Cardinals, are heading off to Los Angeles for a 3-game series against the Dodgers. Glad to say, at least on this side of the bay, that we've got some baseball to look forward to this summer. It looked like it was going to be a very dull season, and now suddenly there is a real reason to watch.